Do you feel like you've lost your way? Are you overwhelmed and anxious on a daily basis? Do you feel like you're too stressed out to enjoy life? If so, you've landed in the right place. The Gratitude to Bliss show is about stressing less and feeling blessed. It's about figuring out what matters most, letting go of what doesn't, and creating a life that makes you feel happy and alive. I'm Lorraine Miller, mom, health coach, award-winning author, infertility survivor, and recovering stressaholic. And I'm on a mission to help you overcome overwhelm, improve your health, and find your bliss. The best part? It's so easy to get started. The Gratitude to Bliss show starts now. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Gratitude to Bliss show. I'm your host, Lorraine Miller, and I'm so excited for our topic today, gratitude for healing. I have a very special guest, Christine Egan, who's joining us today, and she is a breast cancer survivor. She's the author of the Healthy Girl's Guide to Breast Cancer. And in her book, Christine shares how she maintained her health despite a health crisis. She learned how to shed her should and found health in the least expected and delightful ways. So welcome, Christine. It is so exciting to have you here.
It's so good to see you again, Lorraine. We go way back.
I know, we do. And it's really a great story because you are one of the people that really inspired me and validated my desire to focus on gratitude for my health coaching work. When we met in our health coaching training program in 2010, so it's been 14 years ago? I remember you sharing with me how important gratitude was to you and how it played a role in your healing. And then I met other people with that same story. People just started sharing that once they knew that was what I was working on. And it really validated for me how important gratitude is for everyday life, but also, in dealing with something as serious as a health crisis.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like we've been talking about gratitude long before gratitude was in fashion, right? Now you can't pick up a magazine or hear something on a podcast about gratitude. And here we've been talking about it for so long that it just becomes part of us. So first thing is I'm going to really take that beautiful compliment about how we really just helped each other way back when, before we even knew what was ahead for both of us. And I'm really going to take some gratitude in that and be in that vibration of that good feeling of happiness and joy.
yes, that's just so great. It's so great, and it's just a really great thing to have in our lives, right? We've kept it alive in our lives all these years, and now it just seems that the world has gotten a little bit crazier, right? We have a lot of things going on these days and a lot of stress. And I think people are getting more and more focused on their health and looking for ways to help with the stress and all of that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you first started connecting with gratitude, and then how you brought it into your protocol when you were going through breast cancer.
I think the first, real tapping into what gratitude meant and what it felt like was with my children. And I could see them growing up and like hitting these milestones without really taking it in, like almost like, okay, well, what's the next one? What's the next thing? And I think that's when I really started slowing down to really take in each and every day of, that whole idea that the day might not be good, but there's something good in every day. And just really appreciating the small things that were going on, whether it was a ride, being in the car for, a 30-minute drop off with one of the kids, and really taking stock in being in the car with that child for 30 minutes and appreciating that aloneness, that one-on-one time with the child, instead of being in a annoyed that I had to take, an hour of a round trip to make this drop off. And I just needed to find those little things in every day to really switch that mindset of having to do, to get to do, to enjoy. So I think having that baseline really served me well once I was diagnosed. And I almost forget what it was like in the very beginning of being diagnosed, but then it comes up every year when I do my yearly testing of whether it's blood work or a sonogram or an MRI, of tapping into just a higher vibration. And it's so difficult to do when you're in the middle of something that is so heavy and so enormous. So I think the gratitude was so important, to be able to find little things throughout the day to really call in that gratitude. So it might look like this. And I still use this today because I just did blood work like 2 weeks ago in a strange new neighborhood that I didn't know, like a whole new lab that I had to go to. And I really practiced. And it was a practice of sitting down, calling in what it is I wanted to do. I wanted to call in ease, like let it be easy for me to get from one place to another. Like, I hope I can figure out the directions. Once I get there, I hope I can find the lab. Once I get in the lab, I hope I find the most helpful person. Once I'm there, I hope she can find a vein. And I really was very intentional about what it is I wanted to bring in for that blood test. And being in gratitude once I met the woman who was going to take the blood. And that looks like this. I'm really scared to be here. I don't want to be here, but I know that you're not going to have any problem finding a vein, and this is going to go without a hitch. And I might have been soaking wet with sweat. I might have been, all anxious, but I still held that vibration of what this could be. And that's that gratitude vibration, instead of being in that low level of, I don't want to do this. I can't believe I have to drive a half an hour to find the lab. I can't believe they don't have my lab work here. I can't believe she has to use only one arm to find the vein. That's an easy pattern to fall into. But knowing what it is that you want and feeling that vibration can easily bring on that gratitude of, I'm so grateful I found it here without getting lost. I'm so grateful I did get lost in the big building, but I was still able to get to the lab, and it didn't matter. My lab work wasn't there when I got there, but it was still okay. And the blood work went off without a hitch.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. First of all, I love that you put it into a real example that people can relate to. And I talk about this a lot when I talk about vitamin G and practicing gratitude, and how important it is to set intentions for what we want to happen. And that's exactly what you did. And I love that you're using it in that way as a tool to help you stay calm through a difficult, I don't want to say ordeal, but like a difficult activity that, you want to go well. And
Yeah. I think that just like you was just saying, that it's not pretending right? Like I wasn't trying to pretend that this was something that was easy for me and, that I was looking forward to. It was acknowledging that this is something that is really uncomfortable for me. So if we know that it's uncomfortable for me, what can I do to get through this with as much ease as possible? And that's why it was so important for me, while undergoing cancer treatments, when there's just this big enormity around cancer and the treatments around cancer, and breaking it down step by step like that, with calling in what it is, like just naming the things. Like, it was difficult for me to drive to this location. It was difficult for me to find it. It was difficult for me to get in with this new lab. Like, naming those things, and then how can we switch them into something that's more positive, that has that higher vibration that we can call in. Because it's easy to go down that rabbit hole of despair and be overcome with the idea of what is ahead. But if we can break it down into step by step, and name the things that, we're afraid of, or that, we don't want to do, and turn those into something, more positive, it's an easier, it's an easier way to go through life.
Yeah, it's a very empowering way to go through life. And I think what you were doing is you were staying focused on the moment, right? You weren't getting ahead of yourself. You weren't worrying about 2 weeks from now what's going to happen, or what, um, getting the results, or all of that. You were just focused on the task for that day. What can I do to
Yes.
make this day go smoothly? And also, how did you want it to go? Right? Like, you had a specific word, you wanted it to go with ease. And I think that's really beautiful. And I think
Yeah.
it's a way that you can support yourself, right? Through
One of my everyday mantras is be where your feet are.
mm,
So that could be during a difficult time, that could be during a great time, and that could be during like a run. It doesn't even have to be something big and heavy like a cancer diagnosis. It could be out running, or out exercising, and you're like, oh my God, how much more time do I have for this? Or how much longer is it going to take me to get back home? Okay, stop, be where your feet are. You're not at home, you're out on the trail, and who knows how long it's going to take you to get home. Be where your feet are.
I love that. I've never heard you say that before, but is that's something I'm gonna definitely think about. I really like that. And I like, um when you were talking about your kids and driving them, and how you wanted to find gratitude in the moment. I I think that one of the things that makes gratitude so powerful is that it affects so many different things. It doesn't just affect how we eat, or how we have relationships with people. It's really everything. And if it's playing in the background all the time, then we're bringing it to the forefront when we're in the moment. So driving an hour to drop your kid off somewhere, because I'm doing that now. My son is 10, and driving all over, tennis, baseball. Um, but yeah, that finding those quality moments and making the most of them, and being able to really appreciate each day, something about each day, is so important, because otherwise we go through life and we're just we're just getting to the next thing, and we're taking all these tiny little miracles and blessings for granted. So I
Yeah.
love that you used it to ground you while you were going through breast cancer, but you also, you've embodied that all these years, and it's still part of your daily life now.
Yeah. Um, one of something that just came up in my head when you were talking about the kids is, I did involve the kids with my, diagnosis, and while I was undergoing radiation treatments, you go into the same dressing room, every I did 33 treatments, so it was pretty much every day for 33 days. And you go into the same dressing room. There are two dressing rooms. So I went into the same one every time at the same exact time, every day, got undressed, put on a robe that opened up in the front, left my clothes in there. And there was this mirror. And the kids would help me come up with inspirational quotes that we would put on a little post-it note, and I put it up on the mirror in the dressing room. But this, I never got to see who was in the dressing room after me. So the next day I would come in and take down that post-it note and put another one up. And it was, again, it was one of those things that I dreaded going on a daily basis, but was able to turn some of that dread into how can we make this, how can I bring the kids along with me in a much higher vibration? And that was coming up with like silly little quotes that just we'd write out every day and just put it up on the mirror to help. It helped change my emotional wherewithal when I was in that dressing room, knowing that this was on the board, not only the physicality of doing it, but the reading of the message, just to reset my mind before you go into that room that has like that danger sign, like do not enter.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. And I know you talk about that in your book too, and how um, you did things like that, and you talk about your whole journey really, and how you incorporated different things. Um, so I encourage everyone to check out Christine's book. We're going to take a break now, but your book is on Amazon, right?
Yes. The Healthy Girl's Guide to Breast Cancer.
And it's just an incredible record of your journey and how you dealt with things on a day-to-day basis, and your protocol. You have a lot of tips of things you did nutrition wise, and then of course you talk about gratitude, and just you kept your sense of humor through it. I think that's really important. And I love that you're sharing your journey with everyone through this book. So thank you for writing this book. I've given this book away to people, and Christine is actually giving away 2 signed copies of her book. So keep listening to the end. We'll give you information on how you can um, participate in that giveaway. And when we come back, we'll talk more about how gratitude helps us through tough times. And also, I want to talk about how you actually practiced gratitude when you were going through breast cancer. So we'll talk more about that. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in a few minutes. So stay tuned. This is the Gratitude to Bliss show. I'm your host, Lorraine Miller, and we are here with Christine Egan to talk about gratitude for healing. We'll be right back. Hi again, and welcome back to the Gratitude to Bliss show, your place to be to get your vitamin G. I'm Lorraine Miller, your host, and I'm here with my very amazing guest, Christine Egan. So, Christine, I want to ask you, when you were going through breast cancer and when you were facing difficult times, was there a specific way that you practiced gratitude that you felt helped you to keep your mind in a positive place? Other than thinking about things throughout the day that you mentioned earlier, how did you really bring it to the forefront?
Yeah. Like I said, anytime there is anything big going on, it doesn't have to be a cancer diagnosis. It could be a sick family member. It could be anything. It was so important for me at that time to write things down in a journal that I had. And it was as simple as writing down 3 things that that I was grateful for that day. And that's one of those things that not only are you reflecting on your day, but you have to think long and hard about what the positive things were in that day. And so much research has been done on that since way back when, about being able to manifest things that you want out of life when you come from a place of gratitude and you come from that vibrational level of these are three things that I'm grateful for, when you can go back and think about those three things. Like if I probably still have my journal that's packed away now that we've moved, but I'm sure my gratitude journal is downstairs packed away somewhere. I'm sure if I picked up and looked at three things from a very specific date, I'm sure I have those three things in my life now,
Mm.
um, on a much larger scale. Um, when I can think back to who that person was at that time and what they were grateful for. For example, like the kids, right? So if I'm thinking about the kids, driving to a karate class that might have been farther away. And now my kids, they're all grown. They don't even live with us every day. And how that turns into being really grateful and really present on a text message or on a phone call with them now. It's that same being in that same vibration and that same energy of taking the time and be present and be where your feet are so that I can be present with them, whether it's in a text message or on a phone call. The same thing as being in that car, that long car ride. I think that there's also so much study now about the actual writing down of something as opposed to just thinking it in your mind. And one other thing that just came up when I was thinking about when I would write things down was right before bed. And since I've done this, all those years ago, I've taken dream classes with an actual chief from Ecuador. And one of the important things that their Sapro Nation does before they go to sleep is they take inventory of their day before they can set themselves up to go to sleep. And here, we've been doing that all along, right, Lorraine? Like all these years, like what was that goodness that came from today? And what are we willing to close down for the day before we set ourselves up for sleep at night? And I never made that connection till just now about how that was the same as this group in the Sapro Nation out in Ecuador have been doing for so many years, on a traditional level of what it is that you're ready to put aside for the day that you've completed in such a beautiful way that you're now ready to take that into your sleep time and then wake up renewed.
And how amazing is that? You were talking a lot about intention, and it's really empowering to think that by doing that ritual every night, you're really setting an intention for how you want your sleep to go. And sleep is so incredibly nourishing, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with. So, you touched on one of the tips that I like to share when I teach about gratitude. First of all, I like to call it vitamin G because it's something that we do every day, like taking a vitamin. It's something very nourishing. And when we start our day in gratitude, we can really set the tone for the day. And then I often tell people one of the reasons why, which you also touched on, why it's nice to write things down is because then you can go back and look at what you wrote. And I really like doing this about once a month. And your journal then becomes like a blueprint for joy and a blueprint for whatever it is you want to bring into your life. But looking at your journal and what you wrote in the morning, right before you go to bed, can be a nice practice too. So I love that these small things bring so much richness to our lives. And I think we're really, we need to get back to what these cultures that have have been following rituals and practices for thousands of years are doing. They really know what they're doing, and we've gotten so far away from it, which is a little sad.
Yeah. I think the other little tidbit I wanted to add is when you are looking for the gratitudes throughout your day and how to like practice gratitude is is really a matter of slowing down. It's not adding more to your list so that you can find gratitude. It's usually slowing down and
Absolutely.
paying attention to something as simple as the dining room table is cleared. Like there are no papers on it. There's not a backpack there. Like I love the feeling that my dining room table is clear and it feels so beautiful to me because now it's like wide open for whatever may come. Like it could be as simple as that. It could be like seeing the sunrise. Like we're not talking like um huge milestones in order to be in gratitude. We can find the gratitude in every day. And it forces us to find the awe in every day. And it can be, really sitting down and looking at the clouds go by. It could be seeing that sunrise. It could be seeing that sunset. It could be seeing the colors that are outside the window. It does not need to be anything that is, you know, gigantic. It doesn't need to be a diagnosis of you're all healthy in order to feel gratitude. It's how to call it in and tap into that beautiful feeling of that awe.
Yes, and it's so true. It's just focusing on these tiny blessings, and then those blessings grow. We only have a couple of minutes left. It's been incredible chatting with you, Christine, and I love all your wisdom. I want to take a moment, a grateful moment together, and we're going to spin the wheel of gratitude. So, Emily, please let me know what the wheel lands on today.
Hi, Lorraine. Today the wheel landed on friends and family.
I love it. Friends and family. So, everyone, just take a moment today or even right now to just think about friends and family and how they bring blessings to your life, how they bring joy and all these positive things. Um, and make sure you focus on the feeling. What are the positive emotions? That is the special sauce to practicing vitamin G that puts you in the vibration that Christine talks about, that brings more good into your world. We have to end now, but Christine, I'm so grateful that you're giving away 2 copies of your book, The Healthy Girl's Guide to Breast Cancer. So for our viewers, if you would like a chance to win a copy, just call in the office at 800-930-2819 and we will send a book to you. Christine, where can people stay connected to you and get more of your daily inspiration? You're just such a great role model.
Oh, you're so sweet, Lorraine. People can follow me on Instagram. That is really my social media place I'd like to be. And I'm just at Christine Egan. It's Christine.Egan. Myself on there. I share a lot of stories, some recipes, some, just actually things that I'm grateful for every day.
Awesome. That's so great. Um, so also, everyone, please remember to subscribe to this show, the Gratitude to Bliss Show, your place, the place to be to get your vitamin G. And you can find me at gratitudetobliss.com. Thank you so much, Christine. It's been such a joy to chat with you, and I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you for listening to the Gratitude to Bliss show, the place to be to get your vitamin G. In today's stressful world, you need an attitude of gratitude to stay healthy and positive. And the vitamin G practice I teach is the best way to make sure you get your daily dose. Join me, Lorraine Miller, every first and third Friday at 12:30 Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio, and let gratitude improve your health, relationships, career, and so much more. Get excited at gratitudetobliss.com. I love you. Take your vitamin G.